What if the struggles in your life aren't just a result of random bad luck, but rather a reflection of unconscious patterns that have been carried over from the past? You might find yourself stuck in repetitive cycles where no matter how hard you try, certain themes continue to resurface. Old wounds, past mistakes, and emotional baggage seem to follow you like shadows. This is where the concept of karma comes into play. But karma isn't some distant force of fate or retribution. It's rooted within the very fabric of your psyche. Carl Jung saw karma not as an external judgment, but as an unconscious process that shapes your behaviors, your choices, and even your perception of reality. For Jung, karma is a reflection of the unresolved tensions, repressed emotions, and neglected parts of yourself that continue to influence your life in ways you can't always see. The question is, how can you break free from this perpetual loop? The answer lies in the unconscious, in the ability to confront and heal the shadows within. In this video, we will explore how to transform the karma you carry by facing these unconscious patterns with awareness and intention. Karma, in its traditional sense, is often seen as a cosmic law where every action has an equal consequence. But Carl Jung's perspective on karma is far deeper and more psychological than this simplistic view. For Jung, karma wasn't just about the external consequences of our actions, it was about the unconscious processes within us that drive our behavior. He believed that the unconscious mind, a vast and shadowy part of our psyche, holds unresolved conflicts, fears, desires, and memories that we often repress or deny. These unconscious elements are not just passive, they actively shape our actions and reactions in ways we aren't fully aware of. Jung's idea of the shadow plays a significant role here. The shadow encompasses those parts of ourselves that we reject, hide, or refuse to acknowledge, such as unresolved anger, shame, or guilt. When we ignore or suppress these aspects, they don't simply disappear. They continue to influence our lives and create negative patterns, karma. Jung proposed that bad karma isn't a punishment, but the result of unconscious, unhealed wounds that keep us trapped in cycles of repetition. These patterns show up in our behaviors, relationships, and life choices, perpetuating the same negative experiences. So how can we break free? Jung suggests that the path to healing bad karma begins with bringing the unconscious to light. By integrating the shadow and confronting the parts of ourselves we've ignored. Only then can we transform the negative energy and free ourselves from these self-imposed cycles. The first step in healing your karma is to identify the unconscious patterns that keep repeating in your life. These patterns often manifest as cycles, whether emotional, relational, or financial, that seem impossible to break. Perhaps you find yourself constantly attracting partners who don't value or respect you, despite your best efforts to choose differently. Or, no matter how hard you work or how much you try to change, you can never quite escape financial struggle. Jung would say these recurring patterns are not mere coincidences. They are the manifestations of unresolved issues stored in your unconscious. According to Jung, the unconscious doesn't operate on linear time, but through symbolic images, bringing up unresolved emotions, experiences, and fears until we confront them. These cycles are often the result of unhealed wounds, and they persist until we address the root causes. To recognize these patterns, look at your life as a whole instead of isolating individual incidents. Examine the recurring themes in your relationships, your career, your habits. What do they all have in common? Ask yourself, what old wounds am I still carrying? What unresolved conflicts or emotional baggage am I still holding on to? These are often the entry points where karma takes root, affecting your choices, relationships, and experiences. You may find that certain behaviors, thoughts, or emotional reactions consistently show up in situations that feel out of your control. When you start to become aware of these repetitive cycles, you begin to gain insight into the forces driving them. And this is where the healing process begins. With this awareness, you have the power to break free from these cycles and start transforming the bad karma that has been influencing your life. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward release, toward breaking the grip of unconscious forces and moving into a more conscious, healed existence. The second sign that you're on the path to healing bad karma is confronting your shadow. Jung believed that the shadow isn't something to be feared or despised. Instead, it consists of those parts of ourselves that we repress, deny, or refuse to acknowledge. These are the emotions, desires, and traits we deem undesirable or unworthy of our ideal self-image. We all have them. The shadow contains the pieces of ourselves that society, or even our own upbringing, deemed unacceptable. Yet it's precisely these hidden parts that play a central role in perpetuating the cycles of karma in our lives. When we suppress these aspects, they don't disappear. They linger in our unconscious and continue to influence our behavior, relationships, and decisions in ways we often don't realize. For example, you might notice that certain people keep entering your life who bring out the worst in you or treat you in ways that trigger your deepest insecurities. This isn't just about those people, it's a reflection of what remains unresolved inside of you. Jung taught that the more we reject or repress parts of ourselves, the more power those parts have over us. They operate behind the scenes, silently directing our lives. The more we avoid confronting these aspects, the more we attract situations that force us to face them. When you begin to look at your shadow, you no longer project your hidden fears, anger, or self-doubt onto others. Instead, you take responsibility for them. This doesn't mean accepting these aspects passively or resigning yourself to them. It means embracing them with compassion and understanding. By acknowledging these darker aspects, you break the chains of repetition and allow healing to begin. True healing comes from integrating the shadow, not by denying it. When you confront your shadow, you stop running from yourself. You accept your flaws, your pain, and your imperfections. This integration doesn't happen overnight, but it's the key to unlocking the karmic patterns that have been keeping you stuck. Embracing your shadow allows you to live more authentically, freeing yourself from the cycles of negativity and self-sabotage that have been holding you back. Another essential step in freeing yourself from bad karma is the practice of self-forgiveness. Jung emphasized the importance of accepting all aspects of ourselves, including our mistakes and missteps. It's easy to fall into the trap of guilt, especially when we feel we've wronged others or failed to live up to our own expectations. The weight of guilt can create a cycle that binds us to past actions, preventing us from moving forward. Jung would argue, however, that holding on to guilt only strengthens the karmic bond. Self-forgiveness is not about excusing harmful behavior or dismissing the consequences of our actions, but about recognizing our humanity. We all make mistakes, and we all have moments where we fail to act in alignment with our highest selves. But these mistakes do not define us. Instead, they offer us opportunities for growth and transformation. To release bad karma, you must first offer yourself the compassion to acknowledge your imperfections and accept them as part of your journey. When you forgive yourself for unconscious decisions, even those that hurt others, you begin to untangle yourself from the karmic knots of the past. This act of self-compassion is vital in breaking free from the emotional weight that keeps you anchored to previous wrongs. It creates a space for healing and allows you to move forward with a sense of clarity and freedom. As Jung wisely said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Self-forgiveness, then, is about choosing to become more than your past mistakes. It's about releasing the emotional charge tied to past actions, and by doing so, breaking the cycle that perpetuates bad karma. Letting go of who you were in the past allows you to align with a new path, one that's rooted in growth, wisdom, and compassion. The journey of self-forgiveness isn't always easy, but it is essential. Through this practice, you free yourself from the karmic chains that have been holding you back, opening up space for healing and transformation. The final step in healing bad karma is making new, conscious choices that align with your true self. Carl Jung spoke deeply about individuation, the process by which we integrate all parts of our psyche, the conscious and unconscious, the light and the shadow. This process leads to a greater awareness of who we truly are, and with this heightened awareness comes the power to make choices that reflect our authentic selves. When you begin to break free from old karmic cycles, you are no longer driven by automatic reactions or unconscious patterns. Instead, you start to make decisions from a place of consciousness, clarity, and self-understanding. These conscious choices are not dictated by fear, guilt, or past trauma. They arise from a place of wholeness, where you can see the bigger picture and choose actions that reflect your highest values. For instance, when confronted with a challenging situation, rather than reacting from old wounds or insecurities, you can respond from a place of compassion, calm, and understanding. This is the power of conscious choice. Each decision made from this grounded awareness has the potential to rewrite the narrative of your life, replacing negative karma with positive, transformative energy. As Jung famously said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. By choosing to live from your heart, unclouded by unconscious fears or conditioned beliefs, you begin to carve out a new path. This path leads to healing, growth, and the ultimate release of bad karma. The beauty of this process is that it empowers you. You no longer feel like a passive victim to fate or past actions. Instead, you become an active participant in your own life, creating a future that is not dictated by your past, but is shaped by your conscious choices. Each small decision you make toward greater awareness strengthens your connection to your true self, and through this, you become a co-creator of your destiny. As you begin to choose with intention, the grip of old karmic patterns loosens, and you step into a space of freedom and growth. Healing bad karma is not a one-time event. It's a continuous journey of self-awareness, acceptance, and conscious living. Recognizing your unconscious patterns, confronting your shadow, practicing self-forgiveness, and making conscious choices are all powerful steps toward freeing yourself from the karmic cycles that have held you in place. However, lasting transformation requires more than just awareness. It demands embodiment. To embody your healing means integrating these insights into every part of your life, your actions, your words, your decisions, and your relationships. As Carl Jung often said, the journey toward wholeness is a lifelong process. It's not about being flawless. It's about being present, aware, and committed to your growth. Each small action, each conscious decision, and each moment of self-compassion is a step closer to breaking free from the chains of bad karma. Trust the process, trust yourself, and remember, healing is not about perfection, it's about progress. You are already on the path, and every choice you make is part of your evolution. As you embark on the journey of healing your karma, remember that you are not alone. The road may not always be smooth, but it is always worth it. You have within you the power to break free from the cycles that keep you bound, to confront your shadows, and to embrace your truest self. Carl Jung believed that the ultimate goal of life is individuation, becoming the fullest version of who you are meant to be. By healing your karma, you take the steps to align with your soul's deepest essence, to live authentically, and to create a future not defined by your past, but by your conscious choices. Embrace this path with compassion for yourself and others, and know that with each step, you are moving closer to the freedom and peace you deserve. This is Echoes of Psyche, where we explore the unseen, the symbolic, and the soul's quiet truths. If this resonated, it wasn't by chance. It was your soul remembering something it has always known.